So many desires, or as many desires, so many blankets. Covering the radiance of the Spirit. We have to uncover to discover. We have to uncover, discover. We have to uncover, discover.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Divine Discoveries podcast. This is your host, Pratyaksh Pai, and we have Vikram in the house as well. And we have a very special guest who has joined us to speak about a very, very, very special and important topic. But I'll reveal more after we do our prayers. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sadguru Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. Om Aim Saraswati Swaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Om Shri Mahakalikaye Namaha. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarkamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mokshiyamamrutat. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Namo Narayanaaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Pandurangaya. Om Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Shrirama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Shri Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. Om Klim Krishnaya Namaha. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining us. Vikram, please let any new listeners know how they can connect with us.
Thank you, Prat. And listeners, always a pleasure to connect with you. Thank you for all of your continued support and encouragement. You can listen to us, continually and find our old episodes through all of the regular channels where you listen to podcasts. So YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, just to name a few, iHeartRadio. So please do subscribe, rate, listen, and share with all of your family and friends. And also connect with us on Facebook and Instagram as well. One point I'd like to share with our listeners, and again, thank you to all our listeners for helping us get to this point, but the Million Podcasts website recently rated the best 30 spiritual podcasts for beginners in the US, and we, Divine Discoveries, was ranked number 9. So thank you, everyone, for supporting us, encouraging us, and it's really that type of encouragement that pushes us to find interesting topics to share with all of you and get your feedback, and it drives us to give our best as well. So thank you for that. It's really an honor.
Yes, it's really a wonderful feeling, and many of the people who are listening out there, we don't know who they are, but we really appreciate the fact that they found our content interesting, and their support is invaluable to us. So we truly appreciate all our listeners, and please continue to support us and recommend us or share our podcast with your loved ones and your friends. We really appreciate that. So, Vikram, as I mentioned, we have a very, very special and important topic that we're going to discuss today, and it centers around a word that is very, very famous globally known term called yoga. And this isn't the first time we've heard this word, obviously, on this podcast. We've used that word several times in various different contexts. But today we're speaking about yoga because on June 21st is the International Yoga Day. That's what has been declared by the United Nations, celebration of yoga, right? So in honor of that, we wanted to dedicate this special episode to understand more about yoga and to shed more light on that. We have the great fortune of having a very esteemed guest. Her name is Snehal Raskar, and she is a dedicated yoga, breathwork, and meditation practitioner and an active volunteer with the Art of Living Foundation, where she has served the community for over 16 years. She is passionate about sharing the benefits of yoga, breathwork, meditation, and holistic well-being to help people lead healthier, more balanced lives. Professionally, Snehal is a bioinformatics researcher with experience in academia and industry, having worked at Savitribai Phule Pune University, Agilent Technologies, and Johns Hopkins University. Wow. Her work has focused on computational biology, genomics, and proteomics. As a researcher, mother, and longtime yoga practitioner, she brings a unique perspective that connects modern science with ancient wisdom. We're happy to have Snehal Raskar with us. And Snehal, welcome to the Divine Discoveries podcast. If you have something to say for our audience before we get into our question and answer session with you, please do so.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much, for inviting me for this on this platform. It's really, really a big thing for me. And I'm really honored and I feel a great privilege to be on here today. So grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much. 12th Yoga International Day is coming, 2026. Eagerly waiting for that big day. It's a big movement. It's a yoga movement. I want more than whole population, whole planet to do the yoga that day. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Snehal, once again for your time and joining us. It's a big honor for us, especially you representing the Art of Living, such an amazing, globally acknowledged and recognized organization for its meditation, breathing exercises and techniques, proper, authentic style of yoga practices and workshops and Ayurveda. There's so many amazing facets to this wonderful organization, obviously founded and currently led by Sri Gurudev, Sri Ravi Shankarji, who I had the good fortune of meeting a few years ago when he had come to the DC metro area and had released a book as well. And it was wonderful to meet him backstage and introduce myself, and my wife was with me. And, there were many other religious organizations waiting to meet him. And I had mentioned to him that I'm from the Temple of Cosmic Religion. And I remember he said, I think I've heard that organization name, but can you tell me who the founder was? And I said, Sadhguru Sant Keshav Das. And he said, oh, I remember him. He used to do Harikatha, right? And he was in the Bay Area a lot. I said, yeah. So I was very honored to know that he recognized and acknowledged our Guruji, Sant Keshav Das Ji, because they were contemporaries and I'm sure had crossed paths several times. So, and as, of course, I had introduced you with this brief bio, but simply is just not enough for us. We'd like to get to know more about you. How did you get this calling? Because, we just did several episodes on karma. And I know there's a karmic connection, so to speak, from a past life where one has an inclination towards spiritual seeking. And so there's no accident by which you are connected or you're a member of Art of Living, that too for 16 years. And, you have a solid foundation with the organization. So I'd like to know, what was your journey like in life in terms of maybe how did you find your way to being a part of this amazing organization? And in July, we have Guru Purnima, right? So I would love to know, along with your answer about, how you became a part of Art of Living and licensed practitioner of yoga, breathwork, meditation, all that stuff. But can you describe your first meeting with Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar as well?
Surprise. Yeah, with Gurudev, oh my God, it's like so many moments with him. First, I met, I did meet him in Bangalore ashram. There's an international Art of Living center there in Bangalore, Kanakpura city. So, yeah, I was already cheering for Art of Living. I had done a couple of courses before that, and we were leading a group, just the new participants group, who had just done their first workshop in Art of Living, and we happened to have his darshan. So it was in the kutir, and it was like I remember there was a crescent moon outside his kutir, and we were just waiting in the darshan line, and he was sitting inside and meeting everyone and making sure that everyone gets his darshan. So yeah, I was waiting there outside. It was like moon, and then it was such a beautiful weather also, and then the ambience. And then I thought I will talk to him, like others. Everybody was like so excited to tell him something or share with him something, ask questions. So I was like, okay, let me also talk to him. But when I met him, actually, and I actually got in front of him, I was totally blank. I was totally blank, and I was like, I didn't knew, there were no questions, nothing, just at a glance of him. And yeah, he gave me, so everyone he was giving sweets in next to him, whatever, in the dish. And then for me, he gave an apple. So I was like, before me in the line, like in the queue, there was like people got sweets. After me also, they got sweets. So I felt very special with that. Like I got an apple. My mom was also there with me. So it was a very, very special meeting with him. But before that, I remember like once I had seen in my city only, nearby, like Gurudev's picture. There was outside some, on the wall somewhere on the street. So I was like, something connected, like something I felt, but I couldn't explain that time.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing those precious memories with us. So tell me a little bit about your childhood, your family life. Was it always a religious home, spiritually inclined home? And when did you actually feel like spiritual seeking, yoga practice? When did all of this attract you? And so can you go through a little bit of that in terms of your life journey and how it connects to yoga?
Little bit, it won't be little bit.
I understand. If you can just maybe summarize it a little bit for us.
Sure. I'll try my best. So yeah, in my family, there were nobody like very much spiritual, kind of what I know. Of course, my grandfather, my mother's father, my maternal grandfather, he was a very pious and a very pure soul. So he had always had a smile on his face. He was such a very peaceful person and a very happy person, and no negativity in him. Like, even forget about talking, even thinking. Like, I have never seen him any negative emotions or feelings for anybody, and everybody loved him. And we had a very strong connection. I was very fond of him, and he just pampered me like anything, like grandkid. So I was very special for him, and he was very special for me. So yeah, I think that his blessings, definitely those genes have passed on to me, and that's the reason I'm blessed on the spiritual path from childhood. When I was like, I think 12 to 14-year-old, sometimes that time, I had these questions. I was super blessed with these questions. In the 3 questions, actually: who am I? Why we are on this planet? And what's the purpose? Like, is this the only purpose to just, take a birth and then study and then get a job and then get married? have kids, and then again grandkids, taking care of them, and then just going one day, leaving the planet one day. So is this the whole thing? Like, I had a lot of other questions too. It was really bothering me. People say like you have to be, contented, and at the same time, you have to be passionate also about your field and, work. So these two were really contradictory. And then I was not getting what is the ideal thing. Either you get contented or you be passionate or be ambitious. You can't be both at the same time. That's what I felt. And similarly, like there were other questions, like all the opposites were bothering me, many of them. With that questions, I went to different spiritual organizations in India. I listened to a lot of talks on there's like Astha channel in India. We had that. And then whenever any saint came in the city, I was in Pune. So whenever somebody came, I used to just go and, listen to him. I used to go temples and bhajans. I used to love bhajans. So I was a very big fan of Krishna in ISKCON temple. So my neighbors were trustee of ISKCON. So they had bhajans and all these at home in my next apartment. So that way, yeah, it started. And then one of my friends, she did the Art of Living course, and she's my very close friend actually. So when I was in my bachelor's, she just called me and then she said that, hey, this is something she knew about my all this spiritual journey till then. So she was like, you will love this, you have to do it. And then I was like, okay. And then somehow it didn't happen, and then I did my master's, and then another friend, again, she's also my close friend, and then she was working, and then at her workplace, this Art of Living course, somebody was a teacher and they shared about it. And then she called me and she said, like, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, let's do the course. I did the course. I loved the satsangs there in India, in my city. Then I came after I got married, and then I came to US, and then it was a blessings in disguise. I had a lot of time. I was waiting for my employment authorization to, come, EAD, we call it. So I was waiting for that, and I had time. So I just, I was feeling lonely, homesick, and with the weather, this cold weather, I was not used to it. So then, yeah, I started exploring more. I remembered all my practices, the breathing exercises I used to do from the Art of Living I learned. And then I started exploring on YouTube and on the, all the knowledge sheets on the website. We have Art of Living website. And I was like really in an awe state. Every day, like, oh, this is what I was looking for. Oh, as if I got the answers. So to what all my questions. And then I watched all the videos of Gurudev, like almost all the videos, like, of course. And then it inspired me to do more. And then that's where, after that, no looking back.
Yeah, that's truly an amazing story, an amazing journey. And we really are very excited to have you on Divine Discoveries. As you mentioned, and as Pratt also mentioned, that our focus today is on yoga, and with International Yoga Day in particular coming up, there's a lot of interest and focus on this globally. Generally, yoga has been extremely popularized in the West as well, despite being an Eastern tradition and Eastern practice. But I think, one of the things that came to our mind when we were thinking about today's episode is that, in the West, when folks hear the word yoga, right, they think about the physical postures, the asanas, the exercises, while folks that are spiritual seekers, they understand it to be something a little bit more, something that actually is finding a way to unify with the divine and connect with the divine. So, what do you think our listeners, should know about in terms of understanding yoga in its truest sense? What is yoga in its truest sense?
Yeah, thank you for this question. Yeah, I'm highly inspired by Gurudev. So whatever, I just follow his teachings and I'm quite inspired. And that's what I am focused on mostly. So what I know, definitely yoga is much, much beyond physical exercises. Physical exercises or postures or asanas is just one part of it. So what I understand from this, our ancient scriptures, and from we have a Patanjali Yoga Sutras talks, commentary actually basically on the sutras by Gurudev, Shri Ravi Shankarji. So in those talks, I have heard from him that there are 8 limbs of yoga. So that's what Maharishi Patanjali in his aphorisms, there are like 196 sutras or aphorisms. In one of those, he has shared about the 8 limbs of yoga. And one of the limb is the asana. So there are 7 more limbs to it. First, let me explain you what are the limbs. What are the 8 limbs? It's also called as Ashtanga. In Sanskrit, there's a word, Ashtanga Yoga. So basically, yoga is union. Yeah. Union, it's it comes from the root word, Sanskrit root word. It's called as a union, yuj, yuj. So union of what? It's a union of the body with the breath, mind, and the spirit, and with the universal energy. So we are connecting the microcosm with the macrocosm. That is the union, that harmony in all the levels of our existence. You're aligning it with the nature. Yeah. Aligning ourselves with nature. That is yoga. Yeah. Yoga is union. Right. So in the 8 limbs of yoga, other than asanas, it is yama, niyama, pranayama, pratyahara, dhyana, dharana, and samadhi. So those are the 8 limbs. Now, and in one of them is asanas, as we saw right now. So definitely it is beyond that. And if do you want me to explain all the 8 limbs, like detail a little bit?
Yes, if you can
Oh,
expand.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yamas, it's like the conduct in the society, like, some norms we follow when we are living in the society. That is the yamas. And then there is niyamas, which is like for the self-conduct. It's the moral conduct, which we follow for our own individual, as a discipline for ourselves. Yeah. That is the niyamas. Then there is the asanas, the postures, physical postures, body postures. And then there is pranayama. Yeah. Pranayama is the breathing. Yeah, the breath work we do. So I can actually elaborate more on breath work in as we continue. So yeah, it's about the pranayama. It's about the breath, how it helps us to get that union. It helps us to bring that union or that harmony in our body. Yeah, and then there is pratyahara. That is the withdrawing all our senses from the sense objects. Yeah. It's like the pratyahara, like from the outward world, our mind, we are withdrawing it and getting it more inwards from the sound to the silence journey, we say. Yeah, that is the pratyahara. And then there is the dharana. Dharana is like having an intention, holding to some, intention within, holding some place, giving some place in our body or inside, within us, basically. So that is the dharana. And focusing, maybe you can call it. And then there is the dhyana, that is the meditation. Yeah, again, meditation is going deeper within ourselves, and meditation. And then the samadhi, that is the effortless union, dissolving in our own spirit. Yeah, that is the samadhi. So all this is the 8 limbs of yoga, and all this, when it is included, that becomes yoga. Yeah, that is the real essence of yoga, when we include all the aspects of these 8 limbs. And these 8 limbs, why they are called, it's so beautiful word, 8 limbs they are called. They're not calling it as 8 steps or 8 stages. Yeah. What are these 8 limbs? A chair, it has like all the 4 legs, let's say. Yeah. So when you pull one leg of the chair, all the other 3 come together along with it. Yeah. So same way, the limbs, it's like, the baby, when it is growing, as a fetus, it doesn't get like the nose first and then the ears, or hands first and then the legs. All the organs of the body, all the body parts are developing at the same time. Yeah. So same way, in the 8 limbs of yoga we are talking about, or everything is happening at the same time. Yeah. So when you do like meditation, all you automatically your other 7 limbs of the yoga, they're taken care of. So your breath is aligned. Yeah, it brings in harmony with your breath. And then when you're doing some breath work, pranayama, naturally you leads you to the meditation. Yeah. And automatically you start having those self conduct, moral conduct, we say shocha, contentment, all these things start following it. So that's why these are called as the 8 limbs of yoga and not the 8 steps or eight. It's not like one after another. It is,
Right.
they all go together, hand in hand.
Hand in hand. Wow.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So yeah.
That's amazing. No, I had no idea about that. So that truly is fascinating and enlightening as well. Given that yoga has such a widespread name and widespread influence and followers, I'm sure that there are also some common misconceptions that folks hold about yoga as well. Are there any in particular that come to mind that are very, very common that you often hear that is just not a right interpretation of what yoga is?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard from Gurudev himself, like there are different myths, like, how people feel, especially in the Western part of the world, they feel like this is more of physical postures. They more only flexible people who are like, fit and thin, they can do it. It's, this is only for women. Some people even think that. It's surprising, but yeah, that's what. So yeah, it is. There are a lot of like it's some people feel it is religious because we chant Om in it, and we do this. So it's like, yeah. So these are all the misconceptions, totally baseless. It's all myth, I would say. And even there is like I heard like this, they do this hot yoga that like they increase the temperature in the room and they are, just torturing the body and they're doing this yoga.
Yeah.
So there nowhere it is in our, our scriptures or in our whatever from the ancient lineage we have got this knowledge of wisdom of yoga. Nowhere it says that torturing the body. In fact, we are to be more compassionate, more gentle on our body. Yeah, do as much as you can. There's in Patanjali says the sthiram sukham asanam. It's the first, almost in the initial of first sutras, he says sthiram means stable, steady. Sukham means comfortable, where you feel comfortable. Yeah, where you feel you're, you're not stretching, you're not straining, you're not feeling restless and your breathing pattern is not just changing. So there is sthiram, sukham, asanam is the basis of it. So even from Gurudev, like some people said, like there's a sanitization of yoga they do. Some of them, like what is that sanitization? It means like they are removing the Om part. They are removing the name Surya Namaskar from Surya, from the Surya Namaskar asanas. So just to, make it more appealing to the different crowd or audience, they want to, use this and modify this. Yeah, this is all, I would say, misconceptions and all the ignorant way to use the real, and we lose this real essence of yoga because of this.
Right. It's misuse of the word yoga and misrepresentation to a large extent also,
Yes.
when they're trying to create their own thing or their own variation of it, which has no connection with the scriptures, as you said. And I've even heard some ridiculous things like beer pong yoga and stuff like that. Some people
Yes.
who do strange things like these, they just are just trying to create this fad, and it's just maybe they get some people who are attracted to those things, but when in the grand scheme of things, they're really ignorant and they're misrepresenting what the word means and
Yes.
what the true authentic practices are. So yeah, thank you for telling us.
Misinterpretation of the many times, that is also one thing.
Right.
That they understand it very differently. It's like,
Sure.
yeah.
You had mentioned Sage Patanjali and his Yoga Sutras. So if you could expand a little bit more, maybe on a few more teachings from the Yoga Sutras, if you have any, the foundation of all spiritual practices and all aspects is obviously emanates from the Vedas and Vedanta Upanishads, and also, but I just want to know if I know like the cream of the crop, at least the one that's like seems like the go-to is Patanjali Yoga Sutras. But if there's anything apart from that that we're not aware of, maybe if you would like to mention that, please do.
Sure. I love, I from Bhagavad Gita, a very famous scripture. We all, I'm sure many of us know,
Yes.
Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. He, when he was addressing the, questions and imparting knowledge, the spiritual knowledge to Arjuna, he had mentioned about very beautiful sutras or the shlokas, we say Bhagavad Gita shloka, the second chapter, I guess, and then, so one or two definitely, I love them, and I really use them for my meditations too. So one of them is Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. He has mentioned about it. So Samatvam Yoga Uchyate means having equanimity of your in the state of your mind, basically equanimous state of your mind in whatever we do, whatever actions we do. So it's not easy, of course. When you are happy or when you get success in life, or some things happen just what the way you wanted to, and you get excited, we get excited, and we are just on the top of the world, and in that we lose our awareness and we start doing some taking some wrong decisions, or our mind is not in the natural state of being. So, and when you fail, even that, when you face a failure in life, then also it happens like many times we just get so upset and so frustrated, and and it almost leads to depression. We get so depressed when things don't happen our way. So how to avoid or overcome this ups and down, the drastic extremes of our mind, this modulation of our mind, that is how to balance that and being centered in whatever situation we face. Either we are we get success or we are get failure, still maintaining that equanimous state of mind, that balanced state of mind, not getting carried away, not getting swayed away with our emotions. That is yoga, he says. So it's about the mind. So yoga, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. There is one more by Krishna again in Bhagavad Gita. It says, Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. It's, so he says that yoga is, the literal meaning of the shloka is, yoga is skill in action. But that's what he's saying, like yoga is not just on the yoga mat. Yoga is beyond that. It's actually how you live your life with skillfully, not, getting wavered. Again, the mind, it comes to the mind, that not getting, how to skillfully manage your mind and not getting engrossed in all this, negativity or whatever, getting carried away with the sense organs and whatever happens, still keeping that uplifted state of mind or a positive state of mind, come what may, the surroundings, the situations, the people, everything, So how to still, restrain ourselves and not get swayed away with it, that is also a skill. So if something happens, and how to process that, all those emotions and get back and be resilient, that is the skill in communication, skill in our actions, a skill in our thinking, skill in our perception. So that is yoga karmasu kaushalam.
Yeah.
There are many more, but I think, And Gurudev has actually explained it very beautifully in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra series he has shared. So in that he says, like, any discipline is very important. So there is something called as sattvic actions. There is like 3 types of actions, like, tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic.
Right.
So what happens is in sattvic, initially when we start doing something good for ourselves, it's painful. It's not easy to go with. Yeah. In your childhood, you remember like when you wanted to brush your teeth. You didn't want to brush your teeth, but our parents will be like, forcing us to, every day, like
Right.
you brush your teeth. And then now it has become a part of our routine. We don't have to take a lot of efforts. But initially, yes, in the beginning, we had to take efforts. So
Right.
that is something called as the discipline. So same way with the meditation, with the pranayama, breath work we do, we have to have a discipline for some time. We have to keep doing it. It is like a tapas. We have to keep doing it again and again. Regular practice is very important. That's what Patanjali says in his. So it's given a lot of stress to discipline and honoring the practice, whatever we do. If you don't honor the practice, it's not easy to, get those benefits, the
Right.
total benefits of it. So that really resonates with it. Because what happens in Rajasic, it's like or Tamasic, maybe like, let's say like a smoking. Smoking it's a tamasic thing, yeah, action. In that, what happens is like initially it is good to you feel good, but it's going to harm your body. So and the same way with the Rajasic, it's like it is good to start with, but it is not actually benefiting you, or it is for long run. It is just a temporary thing. So that's what I actually inspired me a lot. That sattvic tapas to do it. It's like you have to be regular. Nairantarya, he says, puna. You have to keep doing it.
One thing I'd like to mention, since you brought up the Bhagavad Gita, is that every single chapter is a type of yoga. Sankhya yoga, karma sannyasa yoga. So there are 18 of them. And it's very cool how the word yoga is attached to each and every, chapter, which is really petals of, I guess you can say, one lotus, which put together is yoga, teaches us yoga in that sense too, with the wisdom. Yep.
Yeah, no, this is, this is really a masterclass. Because again, even someone like me who feels very connected to all these things, every time we have special guests like you, I feel like there's a lot that I don't know. So it really is amazing. We talked.
That's a sign actually that you are so open to learning. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, always. We were talking about, the kind of physical asanas and physical actions of yoga, but then also making sure that those are in tandem with the mental aspect of it. Talking a little bit about hatha yoga, are the physical postures or asanas that are taught as a part of that, are they limited to just physical health and fitness, or are there also those additional components that we've been talking about that go beyond that are part of that? How should one approach that?
So honestly, absolute hatha yoga, I haven't, gone deeper into it. What I understood from Shishi school of yoga, I follow that, and I have studied that, and I have practiced it, and I teach that. So what I know is hatha yoga, it is part of this, the Shishi school yoga has hatha yoga, vinyasa yoga. They are part of this Shishi yoga sequence. So hatha yoga, it's mostly, what I understand is it has a lot of aspects to it too. It has mudras, it has asanas, it has a cleansing part too. The basti we do in the panchakarmas, in the shankha prakshalan, we are cleansing the intestines, we are cleansing, detox processes, all those happen. Those are part of the hatha yoga. Pradipika, they say that. So that is very much, there's a lot of overlap, I feel like. There's no clear distinct, like this is this yoga, and there's a lot of overlap. Some things have some extra things, and some has, some aspects, like as we already, we mentioned, like, the 8 limbs of yoga. So this is my understanding. What I was thinking is like Shocha is part of the yamas and niyamas in the Patanjali says. So that is part of the Hatha yoga. And that is like, we also practice, we have this deep dive retreat in which we do this Shankha Prakshalan as part of the Shishi School Yoga deep dive retreat, one of this. So there is no clear distinction, and, I honestly, I don't feel to make it more complicated. It's like the more simple I can keep it, the more, easy it is.
Okay, thank you. So taking it further, we've been doing, like I said, the Karma series. And in our last episode, we spoke about the rebirth of the soul and the types of, how each individual has not just the physical gross body, but then they have the Sukshma Sharira, which is the astral body, and then the Karana Sharira, which is the causal body. So we kind of went into depth on that, and the 5 sheaths or the koshas that we also have, right? And how important it is to keep them in good balance. So specifically on the prana, right? The pranamaya kosha, if you will, that's the closest to the gross body. And it's vital energy that we can feel. We can feel the energy when or lack of energy also, right? We feel that at various times in our life, various points in our day. And it's essential, the vital energy is essential for proper functioning of our body. So how do the yoga practices that you're aware of, that you practice, and the techniques that you utilize, how do they help keep our prana in good condition?
Oh, that's a very beautiful term. I love prana too. Yeah, it's like we do pranayama a lot. So,
Yes.
daily. So yeah, that's prana. So prana is a very, very powerful thing. That's the whole basis, of the whatever we do. That's the most connecting thing between our gross and the subtle, what you're talking about. So it's like the breath we talk about. So what we understand is, again, this is all the teachings from Gurudev, what I have learned, and I'm experiencing it for myself. So it's prana is something, it's called as a life force energy. Yeah. In Chinese, they call it chi. This is a prana. Yeah. And then we are floating in the ocean of prana, they say. Like the air, like the fish is in the water. Same way we are in the prana. All everywhere around us is prana. Yeah. It's just that we don't know how to tap into that source of energy, And prana is associated with breath usually. It is not the breathing, but it is associated with the breath. And then when we are breathing, we are along with the breath, along with the air, we are also taking the prana with us. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then when we take the prana, there are subtle energy channels, the pranic Naadis, the subtle energy channels through which the prana flows through our body. So when your energy is high, we feel, happy, we are energetic, we are enthusiastic. Yeah. We want to do something. We feel more positive, basically. Yeah. And when our prana goes low, that's when we get all those, we feel little low, little depressed, or, all the negative thoughts come in. Yeah. So all this happens because it's all the play of the prana going up and down in our body. So yeah, this is and pranayama comes from this prana. It's like pranayama is prana plus ayama. That's how the word is broken up. Yeah. And then prana, as we saw now, is a subtle life force energy, and ayama is directing that life force energy or housing that life force energy into our power system in our body. So that's what is pranayama. So what we are doing is, when we are doing pranayama, here we call it as breath work. So in pranayama, we are taking the prana inside. Yeah. And then that's what we are trying to increase the prana in our body, basically, through the breathing exercises. I can share a little bit about the breath.
Sure.
Because that's really closely associated with the prana. So breath is like, as we said, like when we are breathing, and that's when we take the prana in. And then how to increase the prana in our body, that's what the breath work comes in. And then when we are breathing, doing some breathing patterns, you must have not, it's said that 90% of the toxins are released through our breath. Yeah. But we don't, how to increase that breathing capacity. It's like, usually it's said that only we are usually 30% of our lung capacity. But we have the potential to use the full 90-95% of the lung capacity. We can go to that level when we increase that, improve our breathing.
Right.
To take more oxygen in, to take that prana more in. Yeah. So how to do that? That is the pranayama. It's so beautiful, the prana, the breath is associated with our emotions and mind. Like, have you noticed when you're happy, how do you breathe? It's like maybe you're smelling a flower. How it's like, it's a long inhalation, yeah. That's a breathing
Yes.
pattern, yeah. You're happy, yeah. And when you're sad, how do you breathe? It's like a big
Yeah.
sigh, right?
Right.
It's like, oh, poor thing. Oh, sad. So that's like a long exhalation. The breath out is a longer one. Yeah. And when we are angry, how do you breathe?
Really heavy and
Yeah, it's very fast and shallow
fast.
breath, right? It's
Yeah.
not the deeper one. It's a very shallow breath. Sometimes you even forget to breathe. It's that we're so much into that emotion. Yeah.
Right.
How how beautiful this is. Every emotion has a specific breathing pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Usually what happens, the emotion controls the breathing pattern. Yeah. When we are happy, and then the breathing pattern changes. We are sad, the breathing pattern changes. We are angry, the breathing pattern changes. What in pranayama or breath work, what we are doing is we are reversing this. We are taking efforts to change our breathing pattern. We are breaking that breathing pattern, and actually we'll have a savor our emotions. Yeah. That is one of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras where he's giving a solution to break the breathing pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the key to all the aligning again the body to our natural state. So that's how the pranayama is so powerful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Truly amazing. And it's actually eye-opening when you think about how less of our breathing capacity, like you said, the percentage is just 30%
Yeah.
of our lung capacity that we're actually using. And it feels like the regular breathing that we consider that we don't even pay attention to it. It's something we take for granted that we just breathe every day. But
So
that's
true.
not the best quality of breathing, right? We're just not doing our body and our prana justice.
Yeah.
So we do need to invest more time into doing some basic pranayama, at least for a few minutes every day, I think would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had touched, Snehal, on the word Naadis. And, I think you call them spiritual energy points or something like that. So basically, like, this is one of the things that I had not mentioned in our previous episode, but it was something that was connected to it, right? So it's part of our astral body. There's nothing known as nadis that you can, a doctor would be able to open you up and see inside, right? Basically, can you explain what nadis are again, and then how yoga helps to maybe cleanse those, or I don't know, detox them or remove blockage from them, whatever it may be?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know much about the nadis, but what I know it is associated with the seven chakras and uh, yeah. So that connection, I can explain the chakras. That's what we do in the silence course or the part 2 course of Art of Living. We do a lot of, cleansing of the seven chakras in our body. So it's what I understand. Also, there is one more aspect to it is like the Ayurvedic practitioners, they do this pulse diagnosis, they say here, and that is called as Nadi Pariksha. So from that also, I understand is like they'll check your nadis. Even there are doctors who do it remotely, can do it. They're doing it for me, and then they'll just they connect with me, and I can feel actually they're scanning the body. I can feel which part they're looking or they're checking, diagnosing kind of thing. And then they actually accurately tell you what's going on and where it is going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, there's a vata, pitta, kapha, their body types, and then what's in harmony and what has gone, it's disturbed.
Unbalanced or imbalanced, right?
Imbalance, yeah, doshas, they call it. So all those things, they are able to do it just by doing Nadi Pariksha. So definitely this Nadis are so powerful and so amazing to know. And there are all over, I think there are 72,000 Nadi channels, the pranic channels, what we call, through which the prana flows. So what happens is, what I understand is, it's like, the arteries and then the veins, and then they become bigger and bigger, by the time they go to the heart, and, all those capillaries, from capillaries to arteries and veins and all those things. So same way, the prana channels, they are like thinner, like, let's say like a roads, the village roads, the small roads, the, the narrow lanes and all those things. And then they become bigger, bigger, bigger. And then there we have highways. Yeah. And then we have the squares. Yeah. Squares are there. And then the highways, they all meet together, all those. So same thing. There's like a big network of this pranic channels, this the nadis, which we say in the body. And all this, like, and then the 7 chakras. There are hundreds of chakras in the body, but there are like 7 main energy centers, we call it. So these are chakras we call. Chakra is what? The wheels. It basically starts from the base of the spine to the top of the head. Those are there are 7 main chakras over there. And then all this prana flowing, you can see like the traffic on the roads. So somewhere it is blocked, that road is blocked completely, and it is not anymore functional. So that's where, so same thing, through the prana or through the oxygen, that area of the body that doesn't get prana in that area, or the oxygen is not supplied. Like, sir, also I've heard, like, the oxygen in the cells, it's deprived. They multiply faster. Yeah. So same way, this prana is not reaching that part. And that's why those energy blocks, the emotional block, and these 7 chakras are so amazingly connected to our emotions again. So the 7 chakras have 7 emotions. Can I go deeper into that little bit?
Sure, please.
Okay. Yeah. So basically 7 chakras, it is said like 7, it starts from the base of the spine. Yeah. It is called as the Mooladhara chakra. Yeah. And that Mooladhara chakra is where this is the energy center. It is just one energy, but it takes different forms. Yeah. So what happens is, like, in the Mooladhara chakra, there are 2 types of energies. One is energy for enthusiasm, and one is the energy for inertia. So one is a positive, same energy, but in a positive form is enthusiasm, and the negative form is inertia. So when your prana is low, when you're feeling low, you go into that inertia. You don't want to do anything, right? Like, you have everything, but you just don't want to do anything. Why? Because it's like your prana is low. So when you increase your prana by doing pranayama and all, you become suddenly enthusiastic. Oh, okay. Let me do this, let me do that. Why? Because that Mooladhara chakra is activated, we say, because of the pranayama we do. So what we are basically doing is, the whole team is going there, cleaning that road, that energy center, that square, and you are getting rid of that blocks there. Then comes the further up you go, when your prana is more high, the 2nd chakra we call it, that is the Swadhisthana. The Swadhisthana chakra, which is located just behind the genitals, it is there the energy manifests as creative or procreative energy. We get all the innovative thoughts. Suddenly, we get so much creative. We say, oh, he's painting so nicely, something very different. So it's coming out of imagination. Yeah. So that is that creative energy that happens in the Swadhisthana chakra when the prana is high. Yeah. And then next comes the Manipura chakra. That is based at the navel region. Yeah. It's located in the navel, actually. And then there are 4 energies, or the 4 emotions in that part. Yeah. One is like greed and jealousy, the 2 negative emotions, and 2 positive emotions. That is the generosity and joy. Yeah. So when your prana is high again, yeah, then that's when you feel more joyful. That's when you feel more generous. Gurudev often gives the example of Buddha, the laughing Buddha. Yeah. Or Ganesha, how the belly is bigger, because he's generous and joyful. So yeah, that energy is high there. Yeah. And when your energy is low, then you get all this jealousy, all this greed. And then next comes the Anahat, is at the heart region. Yeah. It is located in the heart region. There are 3 types of energies there, emotions that harbor in that place. It is either love, either hatred, or fear. And there is no, it can be only love. If there is love, if that energy is there is no hatred or no fear that time. That energy just switches. The same energy is transformed into love. So there will be negative emotions. But when the prana is low, you will have hatred or fear. When you have hatred, there won't be fear also, and there won't be love also. Like Gurudev often gives the examples of the terrorists, how they are fearless. Yeah, they're literally fearless, and they have no love for the humanity. They just have hatred. That is the Anahat heart chakra. Then comes the Vishuddhi chakra at the throat region. Yeah, and that is located at the throat region. And there are again two energies. The positive energy is about the gratefulness, the gratitude. Yeah, and the negative energy is grief, sadness. You must have noticed when when you feel so grateful, there are tears in your eyes and your throat chokes. You can't speak. That's because the throat area, that energy is high right that time. And when the prana is low, that leads to changes from the gratefulness to grief, sadness, yeah, sorrow, poor me. Yeah, we feel that all those things. That time also our throat chokes.
Right.
Yeah. So then an upper we go, this is the Ajna chakra in between the eyebrows. That Ajna chakra, we also call it as the third eye chakra. Yeah. And it has again actually two energies, anger and alertness or awareness, we call it. Yeah. So when again the prana is high, we have that awareness, that alertness is there. Yeah. Yeah. And then when our prana is low, we get angry and we are not in our and no senses are in our control, right? And then later on we regret when we are aware, when we are relaxed, we are peaceful, we regret, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Why that happens? Because that awareness was not there that time. So automatically that it shifts to anger. And then of course, when you are aware, alertness, you get wisdom, knowledge, and then upper we go, that is the Sahasrara chakra, the crown chakra. Yeah. It is located at the top of the head. Yeah. And that energy, there is only one energy there. There is bliss. Total bliss. Yeah. And it helps in awakening the, dawning of divinity. That when you are in that energy is at that place. When we are like so happy and we feel so blessed, like what we do is, oh, wow. Like our head, automatically it goes up. Yeah. We are rising up. So it's like at the top. Yeah. So that's naturally, and it represents blossoming of human potential to the fullest. What we saw of the 7 chakras now, we actually get to experience this in the part 2 course, the silence course or the advanced course of Art of Living. So this is more of an experiential thing too. It's not just it's in the text, but it is actually what we experience it. Yeah.
And that's what makes it well worthwhile, because what is in the text, what's in the philosophy, theoretically, when you actually practice it and you do experience it, that's what validates what you're reading, and the belief becomes conviction, right?
Yes.
So the experience is what Sanatana Dharma has always promoted. Don't just blindly believe anything. Try it out and try to make it experiential for yourself.
Yes.
Thank you for going through the chakras and the emotions. That was really enlightening. Thank you.
Diving a little bit more in terms of the impact of yoga. We are living in difficult times and challenging times, a lot happening. And, with this, there's a lot of individuals out there that are struggling with, mental and emotional challenges. How can yoga practices help these folks that are going through these challenges?
Yes, so important question actually for this current situation. It's been so I heard from the statistics that the world's biggest challenge, it's not some disease or not something, but it is the mental health. It's the biggest pandemic. Like that's a thing. It is the mental health challenges we go through. And depression is one of that. Stress is the symptoms. It's like I heard like it is like one person every 40 seconds is committing suicide. Yeah, every 40 seconds one person is committing suicide. As we are talking now, there is somebody who is feeling low and depressed and taking his life. So, and also it's like every 1 in 4 people are depressed. are going through depression right now. 1 in 4. So such a big challenge actually we are going through, and it's all because of the stress. Its main reason is stress. Stress is too much to do, lot of work to do, and but no energy or low on energy and no time. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have less time. We have to achieve a lot in less time, and but we don't have that much energy to cope up with that all the work. So, but what to do? Can we increase the time? We all have 24 hours. We all have to do all the things in that time. Yeah, we can't increase the time. Yeah, we can't increase the or reduce the workload or the responsibilities. We have to go through it. Yeah, whatever are our daily chores and basic things for living. So what remains is energy. Yeah, that is the only thing we can address to it. That how to increase our energy level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the yoga, the pranayama, meditation, that helps us to increase our energy level. That's the best thing and the very effective thing for getting out of stress. Yeah. And many times it is, like it's the mind, which is not, main reason it says like the stress is because our mind is not in the present moment. Yeah. We can't be in the present. We either reeling in the past or thinking about the future. Imagine if you're doing all your activities in your life and you're moving from your body like this. Like let's say you're doing your daily chores and while you're moving your body from left to right, you're swaying. What will happen to the body at the end of the day? It will be tired, exhausted. Yeah? It will be exhausted. Same way it is happening with our mind. Our mind, what is happening? It's thinking about the past. It can be pleasant moments of the past, your school days, your childhood memories with your, grandparents, everything. All those pleasant moments, or it is the unpleasant moments, right? Oh, you will regret. Why did I go to that school? Why did I take that top, subject in my college? So whatever it is, we regret, or we are just reeling into enjoying the glory of the past. Yeah. Or we are thinking about the future. If it is not in the past, we are thinking about a future. Yeah. The uncertainties, so much uncertainty today. What will happen next? What will happen to my kids? What is the future? Yeah. So much anxiety, so much fear. Yeah. There's fear and anxiety of the future and the regrets of the past that tires constantly. Our mind is in the past and future. It's vacillating between the past and the future. And what most of the times, it's all the negative emotions we carry with all those memories. Yeah. Or all those thoughts about the anxiety about the future. Yeah. And that tires our mind in the present. Yeah. And that actually exhausts our nervous system. That tires our nervous system. And that's why we can't be in the present moment. But where is life happening?
In the present moment.
Present, right here, right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're not living that moment to the fullest, right? We're not really enjoying that moment.
Our mind is not there in the present moment. Our body is aging with the time. Our body is in the present moment. It is not living like 20 years back. It's not living like 20 years ahead. It's in the present moment.
Right.
But our mind is not in the present moment. So how to bring the mind to the present moment? It's so beautiful. If you see the kids, why we feel they're so joyful, right? Many times whatever they are doing, they're enjoying 100% into that, completely into that. Why they are so enthusiastic in being with them or seeing them, we also become enthusiastic. We also feel happy. Yeah. However, we have that state of mind is, but when we see a baby or we see a child, we also have a smile on our face. Why that happens? Because they are living in the present moment. They don't have thoughts from the past, or they are not worrying about the future. Yeah. That's why they're completely in the present moment. And yoga says there is peace and joy in the present moment. The present moment is very deep and vast. Everything is there right now here. Yeah. But how to bring the mind to the present moment? Is it easy? You tell your mind, let's close our eyes. And now not think about a green elephant. You can think about anything but not a green elephant. And open your eyes. What did you see?
What we didn't want to see.
Right? So in the realm of mind, there is a law that exists. You know, that what is that law? Whatever we resist, that persists. Yeah. The more we tell our mind not to think about this person, the more we tell our mind not to think about the situation that has happened, still, what will happen? The most our mind will be thinking the same thing, what we don't want. Yeah. So we cannot change the state of our mind at the level of our mind. Yeah. So how to bring the mind to the present moment? And there's a secret which we already talked about. It just lies beneath our nose. It's something that you do every moment.
Breathe.
Yes. That's the secret. That's the key to bring our mind to the present moment. See, our body is something which we can touch. It's a gross thing, right? We can see. It's a tangible thing, basically. It's living in the present, but it's a tangible thing. And then there is mind, which is abstract. Yeah. We cannot touch the mind. We cannot control the mind. Yeah. By any ways. So what is that something which we are doing in the present moment? That is the breath. We are breathing constantly, even if you are aware of it or not. We are breathing every moment. Yeah. We don't say like, okay, yesterday I forgot to take few breaths. Let me take it today. Or tomorrow I'll be busy. Let me take few breaths today itself. We don't say that, right? So breathing is something which we do every moment. It's happening. Yeah. We only realize when we are running to catch a bus, or we say, we are just we are doing some aerobics, some heavy breathing exercises. That's when we realize that, oh, we have something called breathing, breath. It's like a kite. Kite is like the mind, and the string to the kite that is attached to the kite, that is the breath. Yeah. So we cannot control the kite in the sky. Yeah. How we can manage the kite? It's through the thin string. Yeah. The fine thing that is connecting our body with our mind. That is the breath.
Wow.
And through the breathing patterns, to changing our breathing patterns, to doing the pranayama, the breathing exercises, we can have a control over our emotions and our mind. And then we can bring our mind to the present moment. It's a very skillful thing, right?
Amazing.
And I think when we talk about some of the challenges that are there, something that has grown in the past almost 2 decades has been, social media overload and, a lot of constant distraction with many different things. How do you view the role that yoga can play in addressing some of the challenges that are coming from those types of situations? And do you think that yoga can help society prioritize our lives better, what's important in our lives better, and build the healthier relationships that are necessary to have with our families and our communities?
Yes, definitely. It's a very beautiful question and a very powerful question. So this is like, it's so much distraction these days. We cannot avoid, adults cannot avoid, and kids, it's like, it's a very different question completely. So yeah, the focus is something we want to improve our focus, our concentration, and the increasing our awareness, so that we can decide what are the priorities in our life or what are priorities in our daily routine. So my own example, it is like, yes, the more I'm doing my pranayama, the more I'm doing the Sudarshan Kriya, the breath work, the more I get aware, and the more I can bring my mind to the present moment, again, as we talked before. So when the mind is a present moment, and then you're aware, naturally, oh, okay, I'm spending a lot of time on my phone. This screen time is increasing. Or when I'm doing the Sudarshan Kriya, the breathing technique, which is we learn in the part 1 course of Art of Living. So when I do that breath work, Sudarshan Kriya, immediately it increases all my the energy, the prana is high, and my prana is high. Of course, my enthusiasm, which we talked about, the Muladhara chakra, at the base of the spine, it's like the enthusiasm increases. My inertia is reduced. Yeah, that laziness, pramada, what you will say, the alasya, all those yamas, niyamas. That naturally, with the pranayama, it helps me to get over naturally, effortlessly. Positive energy we can feel basically. There is also something called as viveka. Viveka is distinction. In Shat Sampatti, there is something called, I don't know from where it comes, but Gurudev very much talks about this in the part 2 course, the Shat Sampatti, the 6 wealths. Yeah? And one of them is Viveka. It's like Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhana, Shanti, Santosha. And one of them is Viveka, so of the 6 wealths. So that Viveka is the distinction capacity, the discrimination. What is good for me? What is not good for me? So what happens is when you're doing this pranayama, your awareness increases, your energy is high. Naturally, your intuitive power also increases. Your intuition abilities, it's like a blossoming, right? You're blossoming when you're, cleansing your chakras, detoxifying, your prana is going to all over every your oxygen is there, your metabolism increases. Before that, let's say you're in a bud form. And then what in yoga, all these 8 limbs of yoga we are practicing, now slowly and slowly we are blossoming. The petals are opening up. Yeah. So what happens is naturally our discrimination power, the intuitive power increases. Right thought comes at the right time. That is intuition. Yeah. So it's happening a lot with me actually. The more I'm practicing this meditations, I get this. Oh, okay. I get this awareness, like an alarm. A simple example I'll give you. Like I'm sleeping at night. Morning I have to go somewhere. Okay. And then I'll just say like I have to, I want to wake up at 5 o'clock. That's it. And these days I don't even put alarm. Yeah. So it's like I naturally exactly at 5 I woke up. I'm waking up actually. Many times it has happened, not just once. So what is happening is your body is aligning with the nature, the natural rhythm of the universe. And then it starts listening to you. Your thoughts become so powerful, we say, right? Especially when you must have heard the ancient rishis, whatever they say, the bless or the curse, that used to manifest for that person. Yeah. It is said. So why is this happening? Because that you get that power when you're meditating, when you're in a blissful state or enlightened state, or at least your prana is high, your mind is clear, you have a pure heart, your mind is clear, and that clarity dawns, and then whatever you focus on, that starts growing in your life. So same thing, it is like intuitive power is increased. And then now my screen time, definitely I watch, then I can channelize it now. Like, okay, I feel like, I have time and I want to watch something. So it's like something good, positive on this, the quality screen time, I say, I have defined it for me. So if like, it's something like Ayurveda or something which will really help me in my improving the quality of my life, yoga exercises, all those. So I keep watching that most of the time. And then your body and your mind will start telling you. You will get to, I don't know how it happens, but I heard from Guru that nature is very intelligent. So it knows what is to be given. You know how the trees, when in summers, it's a full dense leaves, right? It's not, that's not the case in winters. It's only in summers it happens. Why? Because the scorching heat of the sun, it's saving us from that. It's saving. So that's why it is having so many leaves, and it's making a shade for us. So nature is so intelligent. It knows. And when the fruits has to be there, when the flowers has to be there in springtime. So yeah, we don't have it. It naturally happens. Like, you get more aware and you learn to channelize your energy more. You become more intelligent. Your your clarity in the mind dawns, and then the brilliance also, it says. The Gayatri mantra we chant, or the brilliance, in the Panchakoshas also we have this, right? This buddhi is there, right? Anandamay kosha, and then there is this Vijnanamay kosha, yeah?
Yeah, right.
So that actually it improves for you.
Yeah.
And then things start happening the way you want.
Wow.
Your focus improves, your intelligence improves, your clarity. You get a lot of creative ideas. My husband gets surprised. Oh, I have a lot of ideas, like, easily come up from nowhere.
Right.
So that happens naturally when you do pranayama.
And you also then regulate how much you consume from social media, even if it's something that's good material that's helpful for you, that you're interested in. You don't, let's say, get addicted to it in that sense, right? You have a certain amount of consumption time, and then you're like, okay, this is good enough for today, that kind of thing. You kind of regulate it much better rather than getting that urge to pick up the phone and look through something. Just, you want to you get distracted. I think with a lot of these techniques, we can find a way to have a healthy balance of everything.
There's one more way actually I do it, and many in Art of Living, like teachers and volunteers I've seen. We say that when we have a lot of commitments, let's say 10 commitments in your life, you keep yourself busy in doing something, constructive, whatever you want to do. Automatically, all the distractions, you don't have time for distractions, right?
Right.
Like now we are sitting here at this time, and we are doing such a beautiful thing. So if it was not that, we would have definitely watched something on Netflix, or you have time, you have energy, you're not sleepy, you would have done something else.
Right.
So when we are channelizing, that's what I was saying, when we are channelizing our energy, we know like what we have energy, then naturally we take a lot of commitments in our hand. So what happens if one is not working? It's okay. We don't get stuck there. I have another 9 commitments with me. I can work on another one. If that is also not working, another one. So that is what I do. I love to do chanting. I sign up myself for chanting classes. I learn chantings, and I do so many things like other things. What is happening is we have energy, but we don't want to do any activity. Then, and we don't have any other purpose. For us, it is like we have some higher purpose to work on. Like just today, I heard from one teacher. She was watching Gurudev's live session in the afternoon. It was in our afternoon. There was a satsang going on in the evening in some other time zone in some other country. And then somebody asked her, like, how did you get that time to, you're working. She's in the very higher position. She's working in the office. She's going in person and working. And then she said that, yeah, people were taking smoking breaks. I took this break and I just watched the live webcast. It was that. Yeah, it's that simple as that, right? We take tea breaks and then all those breaks. So it's when we have some purpose, something to do, naturally all other negative things just drop away. Like for a kid, we say, right, if a baby is having some knife in her hand, and then if we go and take efforts to remove that knife from her hand, she's not going to give you, right? Or he or she, the baby is not going to give it. So what? In fact, when you're trying to snatch it or you're trying to take it, focus on it more, how to take it out. It may hurt you and her, right? More. There's chances of hurting. What we do instead of that, we something interesting to that baby or the child, which she loves more than that knife. So automatically what happens? You show her the toy, and then she'll drop that knife, and then she'll run to that toy. Yeah.
Right.
So this is what is called skills. Skill, what we were talking about, yoga karmasu kaushalam. Skill in your actions. And all this creativity, the skills, those ideas come in. We become more skillful when we have that, our mind is clear, calm, in that serene state of mind, and your prana is high. That time, it effortlessly, all these ideas come in.
We spoke briefly about this towards the beginning of the conversation, but June 21st is International Yoga Day. On the Divine Discoveries podcast, we have a segment which we call Spiritual Spotlight. And for this episode, our Spiritual Spotlight is on International Yoga Day. So we'd like to request you to, tell our listeners a little bit more about International Yoga Day and why it's so important globally, especially after the Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India, he urged the UN to recognize it. So, would love to hear your thoughts on this, and as well as, why, in your opinion, is the declaration of such a day a significant victory for the world. And actually, one point I'll also mention is I will be participating in an International Yoga Day event in DC by the Lincoln Memorial on Juneteenth. This would be my second time participating, so I'm looking forward to that. But over to you on your thoughts on Yoga Day.
That's a very big question, actually. I haven't explored so much why this day was, it. But what I understand is like, from Gurudev, I heard that he was one of the chairperson in making the protocol with a structured format for how the yoga should be, for the yoga sequence, to make a yoga sequence for how it should be practiced. So he was part of that team, leading team. And then he said that it was so important because, as we know, like, globally how yoga is spreading, like, people are feeling the benefits at the physical, mental level, they're enjoying it. And globally it is like most of the diverse groups are doing the yoga. Yeah. So and it's benefiting, definitely. So it's globally spreading. So definitely we have to have a structured way. We have to bring that real, that authentic essence of yoga has to be practiced. And it should not be, diverted or misinterpreted and all those. So definitely this yoga protocol has to, and I really feel so nice that this is like a victory of the movement. Like, we have this yoga, it's roots in India. It has roots in Sanatana Dharma, and it's such an ancient, timeless wisdom we have about yoga. So it's amazing that it has come from there, and all the experts have brought up this format, the protocol for the yoga sequence, how it has to be, and how it includes all the 8 limbs, how it touches all the 8 limbs of yoga in that sequence, the way we practice. Yeah. So yeah, this is like this will definitely inspire more people, and doing it together is such a great thing. It is said like when we do it alone, something, it is called as tapas. And when we do it in a small group, it is called as sadhana. Yeah. And when we do it in a bigger, larger group, it is called as yajna. Yeah. This is my understanding. I felt so that when it is people in such a, like, globally, I remember it was like more than 180 countries participate in this Yoga International Day. All over the globe, whole planet is doing yoga. It's not just the asanas, but breath work, meditation. And when we all together at the same time, we are practicing yoga, it is creating such a positive vibe for the whole planet. The peace spreads like, the wildfire, you say. It's like that. So definitely it will change the energy, shift the energy so much. We see like, such a negative things are happening around, the conflicts, the wars, the inflation, the pandemic, the COVID times, and all this uncertainties now. So many things about people anxious, all this health issues. So all these things we can change, shift that energy, shift that negativity. It said that peace, it starts from the individual. If we want the world peace, first we have to be peaceful. Yeah. We have to take efforts to be peaceful. Then we can have peace outside. Yeah. In the world. So yeah, this is like every individual is involved in that, and it's inspiring so many. Those who even many people have some prejudice about this. That also it's just washed away. Just when it's like everybody is coming. It's like a revolutionary thing happening, and then yeah, people from all places all over, they come together and celebrate this. This is like a celebration. So what great can be, like, it's like, and this is for the celebration of humanity. This is like peace and love and compassion. These are the basis of yoga. So all these human values are kindled. This is an excuse to celebrate that day, and then it goes on for the whole year. It has to spread. Actually, yoga has to. Gurudev says it's a vision. Actually, his vision: a violence-free and a stress-free society, and the wipe tears from on every face. There should be a smile on every face. That's what his vision is. And then people from like-minded people, they all come together and they get their family and friends along to do this. So it's such a wave of celebration. It's a wave of positivity we are bringing onto the planet, and it's it's like an ocean coming together, and then the waves, the ripples of those waves, stay for the whole year. So it's like he says, Gurudev says, it's like how the phone has reached every human being. Yeah. We are going yoga in that way. We have to compete with the phone, the mobile phone. It's like we have to reach every human being that way. Right now, I guess only 1/3 of the population practices yoga. It's like we have to reach to the rest of the 2/3 of the population. So that's when the real, victory. And of course, it's a journey and we are all moving towards it. So it's a great, great celebration.
So well said. So well said. And I'd consider it like a launch pad of transformation for individuals. If something globally is recognized and celebrated and made an international day, I think that comes into the purview, that comes into the awareness of people. And maybe they stumble upon somebody celebrating the day like Vikram's about to do, in a big group like that. And maybe they decide that, hey, I'd like to try this too. So all it takes is just the exposure, and that could transform their life because they try it that day and then they really love it, and that's what they want to do.
Yeah, you very well said.
So Snehal, that brings me to last couple questions I have here is, like we have a fast-paced lifestyle. You mentioned stress, and there's so many things, and people want to de-stress, right? But they don't have sufficient time, or sometimes they don't have, I wouldn't say they don't have access to yoga lessons or something, because I think now on the digital platform or the web, they can find classes or lessons that are taught virtually or that are archived on YouTube and such. But I would ask you if you could describe for our listeners who, I don't know how many of them are engaging in yoga practices regularly, but something that they can do on a daily basis that's simple, maybe not so time consuming, that can regulate their breathing, maybe clear their mind, help them de-stress a little bit. If you could describe something simple for them that may inspire them to do more later. But yeah, just something to start.
In Art of Living, we have a app called Sattva app, SATTVA.
Okay.
So in that, we have like hundreds of meditations that are recorded with Gurudev. So yeah, they can just play that, one of them. It's just 15-20 minutes meditation, and just sit with that. That should be good enough. We have also Yoga Nidra. I feel that is very powerful, especially when we are physically also tired. I just lie down and then, lie down on your back and just relax completely. Your hands are on the sides, the palms up, and closing your eyes. And 20 minutes, it takes you. It's a journey for attending to all the body parts and the music and the sound. It's just, you go so deeper. It's like it refreshes you in 20 minutes. So I'm sure that is the best way to begin with and come out of that, slowly, gradually you can come out of that inertia or that stress in the mind.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful. Thank you. And that's very practical because, we use these gadgets a lot. So if there's an app that can be helpful, that's something that I'm sure, most of us could download and use. So that's wonderful. Thank you so much for that recommendation. And I guess my concluding question would be, as we end here, one understanding we have is that the human body, like you said, is an asset. It's a rare gift that's been given to us, right? Sanatana Dharma teaches us that. And our purpose is to ask the kind of questions that you mentioned earlier, right? Who am I? how do I realize who I am as my true nature? We know through the Bhagavad Gita that we're not the body, we're not the mind, we're not intellect, we're not all the ego, all these things, right? But we want to go within, and we know that our true self is hidden inside. So how would you say yoga brings us closer to that self-realization?
So such a beautiful and a powerful question. Yeah, so we have this, we exist here on this planet. There are 7 layers to our existence. That is what we say. So first is the body, the gross one. We go from gross to the subtle. So body is the first level of our existence. Yeah, we can see it, feel it. Yeah. Then second level of existence is our breath. Yeah, we know we are breathing. Yeah, and we cannot exist without breathing. Yeah. So body, breath, mind is the third level of existence. Yeah. We have these thoughts, yeah, all this thing. Mind, intellect is the fourth level of our existence. We differentiate, yeah. We know like, oh, this is good, this is yes, no, and intellect. That is our role of our intellect. That is this fourth level of our existence. And then there is the memory. Yeah. We have this positive and negative, both the, in our memory, whatever. So body, breath, mind, intellect, memory, ego. Ego is the sixth level of existence. Yeah, it exists, it is there. Yeah.
Right.
So ego is that sixth, very subtle. We are going to subtler and subtler as we go deep within. And then there is the seventh level of our existence, that is the self. You call it soul, you call it self, yeah, you call it the spirit.
Right.
So that is the seventh level of our existence. So what we do is, when we do our pranayama, especially the Sudarshan Kriya, it's a rhythmic breathing pattern. What we are doing is just we are actually harmonizing at all these levels of our existence. Yeah, our body is in align with our circadian rhythm. Your breath starts, that restlessness in our breath, that is reduced. You're having natural rhythmic breath, which is aligned, which helps you to have a calm mind. Yeah, your negative thoughts, your restlessness in the mind has reduced. So all this happens, your intellect becomes, it sharpens your intellect, you become more intuitive. And then the memory, the trauma free memory, that is what it happens when you are doing all this attending to the different levels. And then there is the ego, the positive ego we have. We are, I am, I exist. That is the positive ego that we attend to. And then deeper we go, it is the self. Then we get into the self. So what happens, when it's like, the guitar, it's like the guitar, when it's randomly playing something, it will create a noise. It's a noise, right?
Right.
Yeah, your ears will not like to hear it. And when you are actually playing in a rhythmic way, what happens? It's a music. Yeah,
Yes.
the same sound.
Pleasing to the ears. Yes.
Yeah, so it's the same sound, same thing, but when you're playing in a rhythmic way, it creates music. So same thing, there is a rhythm. There is a rhythm to our breath. There is a rhythm to our body. There is a rhythm to our mind. So all this gets aligned, in tuned. We tune our guitar. Yeah, it's the same way we tune all the 7 levels existence. And then when they are in tune, when they're aligned with the big mind, when we say it's a small mind aligns with the big mind, or the microcosm aligns with macrocosm, so that's when everything is aligned, and then we are in our being effortlessly. We don't have to take efforts at that. When our mind is calm, when you're listening to good music, what happens? You just feel calm and serene. Yeah.
Yes.
No thoughts. Yeah. No negative thoughts or no bothering thoughts. Why that happens? Because you get naturally you get aligned with yourself. So it's
Beautiful.
just dropping all the stress, all the all the non-rhythmic things, and then naturally you get back. So that's how the Sudarshan Kriya is very, very powerful. It's a breathing technique which we practice daily, and then that helps us to come back to our nature.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Snehal, for your time, your precious time. But I'd also like to ask you if you can mention those who are interested in Sudarshan Kriya. I myself am interested. You have spoken to me one-on-one about it. But I would like our listeners to know that Snehal, she lives in Boyd's, Maryland, and that's not too far from where I am. And many of you who are in the DC metro area, Art of Living is a big organization, so I know they have a lot of volunteers, a lot of trained yoga practitioners and meditation teachers and all that. But Snehal, since you all are followers of the Divine Discoveries podcast, if any of you have the interest to learn these techniques the proper way, Snehal, how can one, contact you, or what is the right way to contact Art of Living locally here so that they can pursue these interests in yoga?
Yeah, sure. So I myself teach yoga, breath work, and meditation, the Sudarshan Kriya, the sky breathing technique. We teach it in a part 1 course, the part 1 workshop, we call it, of Art of Living, where the heart of the course is the Sudarshan Kriya, the breathing technique. And it's a 3-day workshop. It's a 3 hours each day. Usually we do it on the weekends, like after working hours, Friday evening, 6 to 9, and then Saturday and Sunday, 3 hours in the morning. So, yeah, but saying this, we do have weekday courses too, in the mornings and the evenings. We have teachers who are available to teach that courses. We do it online and in person, that too. Locally in person, you can always, I do conduct it at my place, and yeah, in Clarksburg and in Boyd's, in Germantown too. So you can reach out, you can always email me at snehal.raskar@artofliving.org. And if you want, you're away and you want to do in person and you're not locally in my area, staying near me, you can always find a nearby center, Art of Living Center or Art of Living Teachers. You can search them on Art of Living website, artofliving.org. And yeah, I'm definitely sure you'll find the course near you.
Thank you so much, Snehal. Thank you so much. It was such informative and enlightening discussion with you today. And we could obviously go on for hours about this topic. It's such a vast topic, but I think there was so much that we gained from this episode, having spoken to you and you giving us your valuable time. Thank you once again to you and to Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, who has inspired you, and to all the Art of Living members and those who are helping people in the world. Our sincere gratitude to the entire organization, but especially to you for joining us today.
Snehal, really, really nice to connect with you. I, hope we can, have you again on the podcast and continue to learn more.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to thank you so much for inviting me. It's really a honor and a pleasure to be. I really feel privileged to be part of this talk. And thank you for this opportunity to express my thoughts and my experience on this such a wonderful platform. Yeah, so grateful.
I'm going to ask you to stay a little longer if you don't mind, because we have a Guruji's video, and the reason I'm asking you to stay is because a lot of what you said coincidentally happens to be in the video, and you might be happy to hear what our Guruji had to say about pranayama and yoga. And to our listeners, I hope you all enjoyed this discussion. I hope it inspired you, and I hope you do take Snehal up on the offers that she's made and given you the contact information. So I wish all of you well. I will be leaving you with Guruji's video where he speaks a little bit about yoga and pranayama from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. So I leave you with that. May you all be well. Om Shanti.
Stapya samam shariram, you have to keep your body, because of the Shakti Kundalini has to awaken through certain pranayama. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter and Upanishad, all the Upanishads, in all the yogic meditation, it is taught the upright position. The chest, neck, and head in one straight line. That is called Stapya Samam Sharira. All of you know a steady posture will give you a steady mind. It's as simple as that. The energy, when it is awakened, if you twist this way, that way, same way the energy pattern happens and you become restless. Padmasana and Vajrasana, these two postures are mostly recommended, even though Swastikasana is another great posture. Many of you in America have practiced yoga and are practicing still. Among all, the Padmasana is considered, lotus posture is considered as king of all the asanas. That will relieve your backache, even though your leg is going to ache in the beginning when you begin the lotus posture. Most of the yogis like being developed belly because we stopped practicing yoga postures. It's just like, playing the sports. You play for some time or run, jog for some time and then stop, then immediately Ganesha is going to bless you. You'll have Ganesha belly. Anyway, these are all daily practices to stretch and have good health. Asanas give you steadiness of the mind. And to bring the mind to the sacred heart center and merge there are some problems due to blockage of energy in our nadis. Wrong type of breathing is mostly the cause of restlessness and certain types of sicknesses. Now here comes the secret of pranayama. Pranan prapidyeha sanyukta cheshtaha क्षीणे प्राणे नासिकयोच्छसीत दुष्टाश्वयुक्तमिव वाहमेनं विद्वान् मनो धारयेता अप्रमत्तः. Prana is compared to a rope. And our senses, mind, all these things are compared to horses who are not well tamed, well broken, those who are restive or restless. So we have to control all the senses and the gross mind by making the gross prana into subtler, subtlest. Just like a flying bird is caught when you have a string around its teeny legs. Like that, the pranayama pulls the flying bird-like mind. Therefore, through pranayama, mind is controlled, or when the mind is still, prana is under control. According to anthropology, 3 or 4 times a day, a tortoise breathes. Therefore, it lives between 350 to 400 years. And an average man breathes 21,600 times a day. And when he is angry, he hisses like a cobra. And then he loses so much of prana, and his life is cut short. All heart attacks and most of the pressure diseases which causes immediate death is because of the anger and other things in the psyche. Therefore, suppose the 21,600 times average breathing of an average man, suppose that also is reduced through morning, evening, midday, or any time that is convenient. Preferably early morning and early evening called Sandhya. In the West, it is known as times of power. During that time, there is a natural inhalation and exhalation happening through both the nostrils. I don't know whether you have observed, when I and you have cold, we cannot clearly observe that. But when there's no cold and we have normal health, when you are active in your office, you breathe mostly through one nostril. When you sleep, you breathe with other nostril. Only during the early morning and early evening, during that time, we inhale and exhale by both the nostrils rhythmically. Therefore, those times are considered as good for meditation. Now, there are several forms of pranayama. It's a very big subject in the yoga. Now, the Gayatri pranayama we have taught every one of you, the simplest, and that is to keep the upright position, pressing the right nostril, inhaling through the left, plugging, retaining the breath, and exhaling through the right, inhaling through the right, holding the breath called the kumbhaka, exhaling through the left, and gradually you are inhaling to the duration of one full Gayatri mentally repeated, holding the Gayatri mentally repeated one more time, exhaling also one Gayatri period. As you practice day after day, then inhale one Gayatri period, retain the breath for 4 Gayatri period, exhale for 2 Gayatri period, with the ratio of 1, 4, and 2. That you can always develop more and more the power to retain the breath, not by force, but by practice, is the secret of all healing. All healing in our body and healing sent to other bodies at any distance is when you are able to hold the breath longer. Within moments of practice, you feel that senses are controlled, anger is controlled, a great peace has come, your digestive fire is awakened, made stronger. We do these things through modern medicine. Also, we try to do that. It gives a momentary relief and again makes us sick. Pranayama, even though slow, is going to root out any form of sickness in us. Now, there are two types of pranayama. One is known as Sahita pranayama, and another is called Kevala. Sahita Kumbhaka, Kevala Kumbhaka are the two types. In Sahita Kumbhaka, there are again 4 important divisions in the yoga philosophy. And each of these pranayama are given for healing. For example, the Ujjayi pranayama which you do, it destroys the heat caused in the head as well as the phlegm in the throat, heals many diseases, increases the digestive fire. Similarly, that which you did through the tongue, it destroys poison in the system, heals all the complaints of the bile, fever, and thirst. Padmasana, with that Padmasana, when you do the Bhastrika, you just get rid of the sinus problem and chronic type of headaches and migraine and various other things through the Bhastrika. In this pranayama called Surya Bheda, you touch the left nostril and inhale through the right. Inhale deep and now hold the breath by tightening on both sides. And now slowly exhale through the left. Now, second time, you again touch the left. And this time, when you inhale through the right, you feel that you are taking the breath up to the skull. Close your eyes, inhale through the right. Feel the breath has gone to the skull, purifying the skull. And now slowly exhale through the left. Now, if you practice this 3 to 5 minutes per day, The Upanishad teaches, yoga philosophy says, this destroys all kinds of trouble caused by the wind, any form of intestinal trouble, intestinal worms, etc. And then you should feel that you are purifying that space between the throat center and the thousand petal lotus. The form of heat is created all over your skull by that. Therefore, it is called Surya Bheda. It means, you are penetrating into the sun or the light of the third eye. Now we shall come to the second practice. And this Kumbhaka, Kumbhaka means retaining the breath. Rechaka means exhalation. Puraka means filling. Now this is called Ujjayi Pranayama. In this, natural, you are closing the mouth and inhaling by both the nostrils. Deeply inhale by both the nostrils, naturally. This time you should feel you are retaining the breath between the heart and the neck, in that space. Now you are throwing all the poison out by pressing the right nostril and inhaling through the left. Exhaling through the left. This pranayama, this kumbhaka is called ujjayi. Another is very interesting. It's going to give you right now an experience. And this experience is your entire system will be cooled, air conditioned inside. What you do here is you make your tongue like a spoon. And with a sa sound is coming while you inhale through the tongue. Inhale through the tongue now, deeply. Now lock the mouth. And slowly drink that air. Slowly drink that air. And exhale through both the nostrils. 5 minutes you do this, your entire system will be cool. Very peaceful meditation. And this pranayama is called Shitali. Shitali pranayama. Another is the pranayama which completely cleanses sinus, skull, and everything until it finally leads to awakening of the Shakti. It's called Bhastrika. Bhastrika means, hissing and exhaling. Weed like this. Quick fire breath as it is known. It awakens the fire of Kundalini, quick inhalation and exhalation, and suddenly you are speeding the breath up to your heart center and then below in rising, awakening. It is like fitting to the basket in which a cobra is sleeping. It's like a snake charmer, just like this, and then it uncoils itself to get up. That's called the Bhastrika Pranayama in awakening the Shakti Kundalini, which will pierce the Brahma Granthi between the genital center and the navel, and then comes to Vishnu Granthi between the heart and the neck, and then it pierces the Rudra Granthi between the neck and the brow center, and leads all the way the soul to the thousand petal lotus. Brahma Granthi, Vishnu Granthi, Rudra Granthi. And these 3 knots are pierced by the fire energy called the Kundalini. Then a man dwells in the citadel of peace.